the backup knife is sort of an interesting topic to me because I never really looked at the other knife that I have on me as a backup. And usually by backup, people are meaning if their knife becomes incapacitated for some reason, takes a chip that's so large it can't be used anymore, or the knife gets broken to where it can't be used at all, or the knife is lost. And so people, okay, I have this backup knife. And if you're in a scenario where you need a knife that bad, or you can't carry on, and you're calling it a backup knife, you should really take a hard look at the features of that knife. Is it something you're going to be able to carry on with? Okay, so you're talking about perhaps maybe sort of an extended stay type of a thing where you're still going to want a knife. And it probably should be as substantial, roughly, as your main belt carry, because this is a backup. And so we're talking about a situation you can't go, oh man, I broke my knife and well, I'm leaving anyways, so I guess I don't light that fire tonight, or I guess I don't split that firewood, I guess I'm going to go home. You're talking about you have backup, like a police officer would carry a backup pistol. It's because he's in a situation he can't get out of and would need that backup pistol. So if your backup knife is some little tiny thing that could probably break, or is just not substantial enough to see you through a scenario, is it really a true backup knife? And I don't really know, because I don't carry a backup knife. I carry a secondary knife. And by secondary, I just mean it's just another knife on me that has some intention on doing something that outing. Okay, so if I was out deer hunting right now, okay, and I'm probably going to start a smudge fire in a little while, and later that smudge fire is going to turn into a fire for light and some warmth, and I'm not carrying an axe or a hatchet today, all right? But I do want a knife on me that's going to, be able to do some brute strength type stuff. But just for the conversation of this, let's say that I'm out whitetail deer hunting today, okay? And I don't want a backup knife to this. I just want a secondary knife. So at that juncture, I'll probably carry a knife that will help me affect deer hunting. If I came out here with the intention on carving a axe handle or a spoon, I would bring a knife more geared towards carving. It's a secondary knife. It's not a backup knife. I'm not looking at what happens if I break this one on my hip. Like I said, if that's your main thing, you're talking about survival situations, or maybe that's your school of interest, if you will, is more in terms of survival. Think long and hard about that about that backup knife. Is it going to be able to really be a backup knife? Are you still going to be able to perform the tasks that you need to with that backup knife? Because I'm viewing what I have and I carry a secondary knife, I don't need that to happen. So, if I'm batoning something so outrageous that I break this knife, but for some reason I need to baton that, I can't go home and just chalk it up to stupidity that I broke a knife. So I'm going to pull my backup knife out. And my backup is a Mora Companion. I'm going to complete that batoning that just broke my Essie? Probably not. So now what's the backup knife do? What's it backing up? Right? So it's a secondary knife. So today, for instance, my secondary knife is this little Essie Azula. I don't really know why I took it, other than just for the purpose of talking about secondary knives. And to give you another example, if I was out doing some, getting some panfish today at this beautiful pond that's just over here, I would probably have a fillet knife, or a knife that's going to be geared more towards what I'm doing, which in that instance would be a fillet knife. Is it a backup knife? No, but I guess it could be used as a backup knife. If I had another pair of footwear on me, perhaps a pair of sandals, because I was maybe going to be walking in some creeks or some shoreline, would I consider those backup shoes? No. It would just be a secondary, secondary footwear, if you will. So, like I said, the terminology, and I know it's all semantics, but the terminology can be a little bit confusing to me sometimes when I think about things in terms of a backup. If I wanted a backup type of footwear for mountaineering, that footwear would be at the same caliber as what I would have on to do that task. So think about that in terms of your belt knife then, right? Is that belt knife, is that knife that you have in your kit a secondary knife, or is it actually a backup knife? And does it fit those roles? To each his own, and that's the beauty of all this in the craft and the enjoyment of being in the outdoors, is we can have these talks like this, and they're the same talks you may have with relatives around a campfire or friends out in the bush. They're the same talks, and they're great talks. And sometimes they go around in circles, but it's always a pleasure to talk about these things and discuss them. And maybe this may make you think a little bit about that other knife that's on you. Is it really a backup, or is it more of a secondary? And some of you, it may actually be a backup knife. Thank you for watching. Take care. We'll see you soon.